I could probably do an entire like hour-long video trying to solve the riddle of how Disney licenses these characters out to different publishers. Hello. I am doing this because I had an interesting experience outside the comic shop a couple weeks ago. I walked out of House of Secrets and I ran into my friend Jim Kruger. I had a bag full of comics and he asked me, "Hey, what'd you get? Anything good?" And it was cool to kind of just to go, yeah, like open up the bag and say, okay, pull some comics out and think about why I chose each one, why I'm still buying this particular title or what's going on. And I thought, well, maybe that'll help me gather my thoughts at the end of the week in kind of a fun way to end the week after, you know, things aren't always so great, right? So here we go. This is a pretty good week. I'm going to start with Mark Wade wrapped up the new history of the DC universe. And yes, I am old enough to remember the old history of the DC universe and realize that I cannot keep these histories straight. So I'm grateful for Mark Wade. Great art throughout here, a variety of artists. I think they say to the back, right? As well as they provide like where characters actually made their first appearance, etc. Like right now, if you were someone getting into the Legion of Superheroes, it is actually as complicated to see the big picture as people complained it was for years and years and years. And I love the Legion of Superheroes, and I just saw what was happening with the All In and the Dark Side's Legion, and I get it, and I'm still confused. But I'm loving it because I just love all the alternate versions of characters. But we had Dan Mora, Ryan Sook, Scott Koblish, Jenny Frisson, Jamal Campbell. Those are variant cover artists. Happy to see Scott get work. I like him. And Howard Porter and Hayden Sherman are the interior artists. So this is fun. And what was interesting was I'm also playing this week to take my mind off things, the simplistic, I guess, game DC Worlds Collide. If you were watching Peacemaker, you saw that advertised before and after every episode. So I gave it a shot and I am enjoying it. But what I noticed was suddenly Pandora is very big in Worlds Collide. And thank heavens again for a new history of the DC universe for explaining to me where Pandora actually fits in what the continuity is now. Because, by the way, they made the very confusing to me, I'm old, choice that all continuities are the same continuity. And here's how, so Flashpoint, all of it, they just reality keeps restarting. If you can't keep the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse straight, you have no chance with DC Universe, except the DC Universe has never been better. So even though I'm saying all these realities are confusing, no, you can read All In, any title in that, it actually is as accessible as they claim. Like, for example, I love DC Justice League Unlimited, which, if you are a fan of the animated series, the person walking into a comic shop, it makes perfect sense finally that they actually call the book Justice League Unlimited. And like that animated series from, oh, it's been too long, hasn't it? 20 years ago. It's got any superhero you can imagine is going to be in it. Now, I haven't read this yet because the other dark truth about my going to the comic shop still religiously every Wednesday is that I'm weeks behind, but I do pull out 2 or 3 that I've got to read, that day. Either like the history of the DC universe. I wanted to know, hey, okay, explain it to me, Mark Wade, and or it's like somebody I know wrote it, or it's just a great character that I love. So I say somebody I know wrote one this week or a story in this, and that is Hello Halloween, which is I think one of the best horror anthologies on the market right now from Boom Studios, and my friends Sean Patrick Boyd and Elijah Henry did a story in here, and I'm just going through to remind me exactly, Johnny Pumpkin Time. And so I knew Sean. You can go back into old uh, things, articles on Fanboy Planet. I met Sean at old podcasts. I met Sean at CineQuest years ago when he was an actor. We were talking about graphic novels, and then he reached out and said, "I've got an idea for one. I'm writing one, and I found this artist, and that was Elijah Henry, who turned out to be great." So their book Winona Forever came out, and Boom Studios noticed and should have, and that's great. And so they've contributed a couple of stories. Johnny Pumpkin Time is my favorite of their collaborations so far, but the whole book is great. I think it's a solid anthology. This particular issue, it's normally Hello Darkness, it's Hello Halloween. This is probably the strongest issue it's been in forever, and that it's including that many episodes have this little serialized "Something Is Killing the Children" story as well. So another story issue that I bought that I do have to read because a friend wrote it is David Avalone and uh, Kevin Eastman's "Drawing Blood," a Romana Clef pastiche about a comic book creator who did created a series, underground series, uh, that is not of turtles, it's ragdoll cats. Um, and it became very famous, and they sold them and became very, family friendly as opposed to the way the books originally were, etc. It's very meta, it's very fun, and you know, I got to admit, not just because he's somebody I know, David Avalone hasn't made a false step yet. Okay, another great one I think you need to pick up. Greg Rucka's and Michael Lark's Lazarus Fallen, the final chapter in the Lazarus saga, a book that only gets scarier and scarier all the time. And, it's not meant to be, it's a sci fi, post apocalyptic sort of book, but Greg Rucka, you know, does a lot of research, does a lot of reading, and so it's extrapolations of where science seems to be going, and certainly where socioeconomic power seems to be going right now. So uh, the previous series are all in big volumes from Image. You got to get this. Sisterhood. It's a Hyde Street spin-off written by Maytal Shoot. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. With art by Layla Letts, with colors by Alex Sinclair, and lettering by Rob Lee. And by the way, I love that it's very helpful that all of them are across the cover, because I want to acknowledge that it is a collaboration truly. But I love Hyde Street. It's a Ghost Machine book, and I've certainly had my problems with with our good friend Jeff Johns. He's not my, I'm not friends. I barely, I've met him. That's it. But there have been things when he's been off, but but everything from Ghost Machine, and the openness with which he's embraced creators, new creators in particular, in this case, it's a horror book. Um, I didn't think that Hyde Street as a concept was going to work, and it does. It's terrific. So again, everything I've read from Ghost Machine, I've loved. So Sisterhood, I recommend this little short mini series. That's the other advantage. If you go to the shop and they've sold out, because let's face it, distribution is weird right now, and it's a difficult industry to keep things in stock. The trade paperback is going to be perfect. So I recommend that. I'm still addicted to, unfortunately, we've got no better term for them right now than floppies, but I do like some titles get in trade paperback. This one I did not. Mark Russell and Maurice T. Thanksgiving. It's a one-shot horror special. And again, Mark Russell, one of my absolute favorite writers working right now. I do love Russell. I might really pander too, but I love Mark Russell, and so I always give him a shot because his books are thoughtful. Like Greg Rucka, they're there's usually extrapolating from something socioeconomic or scientific going on. Usually, not always, because obviously some books are just fun. But and I don't know about this one. I just took the shot. But I did ask him at WonderCon a couple of years ago, where he gets his inspiration. I don't think I asked it that bluntly, but maybe because it was awkward. And he said, I just write about what the things that keep me up at night. And I thought, yeah, no, that's fair. And but luckily, not just that, because he's just fun. Then I'm in the midst of reading this. Sorry, my books just slid. I know I could have paused it. I didn't. Uh, I'm reading the Universal Monster series that are coming out of Skybound and Image Comics. This is James Tynion the fourth, artist Donnie, and Brad Simpson's the colorist, and Becca Carey is the letterer. Here I had to go to the inside front cover to get the letterer. Uh, and please, by the way, if you're responding to this, tell me. Should I give? I know up front I didn't give all the credit, so please, you want to know. Absolutely. And I know people want to get name checked. But anyway, this is the Invisible Man. They've been doing going through the Universal monsters, and it's been kind of fun. But I'm going to be honest, because there's different creative teams doing each one. And James Tynion the fourth did the first one with Dracula, and now doing Invisible Man. And I think it's interesting. We can talk about the different approaches everybody takes. The Dracula and Invisible Man are almost like retelling the original Universal movies, monster movies, with a modern perspective. And it really worked very well in Dracula. And this is actually almost slightly a prequel to the original movie with Claude Rains. You know, in my head right now, with this month being the 50th anniversary of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, let us remember that Claude Rains was the Invisible Man. I won't sing it; I can't afford the rights. But anyway, and it's interesting. And Donnie's art is cool. They obviously don't look like the movie actors, but that's okay. My favorite of them so far really has actually been the Mummy, because the Mummy really flipped the script and got more into the feminist side. It was almost like this was sort of what the Tom Cruise movie was meant to be, and absolutely failed to be because Tom Cruise got involved. But it's set in the original time period of the original film. So loved that one. Ultimate Spider-Man, fans were rocked by news out of New York Comic Con that Marvel announced the Ultimate Universe was ending. And one reason I loved the Ultimate Universe, just like I love over at DC, the Absolute Universe. So let me throw out there too, Absolute Wonder Woman. Is what I love is that they are clearly universes with an end game, end point as well, particularly Ultimate Spider-Man, or at least a massive mega arc. And I sometimes get upset at these things, but this I don't, because I know there is a point. It is all heading to everything. The Ultimate Universe does something that the Absolute Universe does not, which is the Ultimate Universe. Each issue, a month is passed in between each issue, so it's kind of a cool storytelling technique. It could clearly go on unless everything gets destroyed at the end. I don't think that's going to happen. It could go on, but I kind of like that it doesn't. I think that comics, the big two, have great characters. Marvel and DC, for those who don't know, have great characters. And I think the thing is, we've got to learn officially that there are just arcs, sagas, and then as older fans, because good lord, do I read all the online hatred for Spider-Man, and I don't get it, because honestly, I only read Ultimate. I don't read I haven't read a regular Spider-Man book in quite some time. So because it's just like, well, you're right. It sounds like something I don't like. I wouldn't like. So I just won't read it, But I hope a new kid somewhere is, and getting into it. I haven't really read Wonder Woman in a while, although I am now again, thanks to, this is the other thing I want to say. A book from Marvel and DC has to be, it's not even that it has to be really good. I just want to know before the spoiling go, because I do have the apps that stream, and I can wait, as I said up top. I'm behind. So you know what? If I have to wait a month before I read the latest issue of Superman, even if it's a month old, I'll do that. But sometimes I just want to know. All the Absolute Universe has been that way. All of it, really. The weakest there, to me, has been Absolute Flash, but only because it feels the closest to the regular universe. What's going on in Absolute Green Lantern? I do not know, but I really want to find. I can't wait to find out. Here again, Ultimates, the Ultimates. So I'm getting all those. Nocturnals from Dark Horse, the Sinister Path. I just love Dan Brereton's art, and I love the Nocturnals characters, the team there, and so I'm always happy to see. And here's another perfect example: you get a miniseries, and I hope it sells well, and then we might not see anything from the Nocturnals in some time. It may be why I like the Rocketeer so much. There's so little, that I don't feel overwhelmed by continuity and need something like the new history of the DC universe. Okay, and I also am clearly adjusting to where the camera is. I didn't want to seem again too pandering, but you see David Pepos and Jonathan Lau on art, and Andrew Dalhouse as colorist, Taylor Esposito as letterer. Taylor Esposito, by the way, on Kickstarter is writing a book. And I wish I could remember it offhand, but I'm kind of doing these off the cuff because eventually I have the courage to do them live as conversations. And I think anyway, the point is check out Taylor Esposito on Kickstarter and see what it is. It's like a dark Mary Poppins, and I'm intrigued to read his work. I love his lettering, but anyway, Space Ghost. I love Dave Pepos, and I think it's all he's been doing a terrific job with Space Ghost because that's one of those characters that most people probably really knew from the talk show, which was a parody of the original series. And I am old enough. I had the Big Little book. I think I've maybe seen 2 or 3 episodes of the show, but I love this book, and I'm so glad it went into a season 2. And it's terrific. The last one on my stack. I swear this was what an interesting way to end. Uncle Scrooge, Earth's Mightiest Duck, and this is Jason Aaron writing. Adam Kubert did some of the art here. Claudio Chironi, and as I do this, I apologize to any creator whose name I mispronounce, because I've just never really heard it aloud. I sit in my office, work all day, read comics at night, and I don't talk to people as much as I used to, and wish I did. Anyway, David LaFuente did some art as well, colors by Ariana Consoni. I think Claudio Chironi and Ariana Consoni, they would be artists from the Italian Disney comics, which again, if you have not gone and found some of those, uh, there's been some wacky, awesome stuff being done over in Europe with Disney characters while Disney wasn't doing anything in America. But I could probably do an entire like hour-long video trying to solve the riddle of how Disney licenses these characters out to different publishers. But I actually really love though that the main ducks at least, are currently in the Marvel universe. They're not in the Marvel universe, but they're being Marvelized, if you will. I'm holding out hope that Howard the Duck gets to look like Howard the Duck did originally, and then I would love Howard to visit Duckburg. I very much doubt that Disney's going to do it because most people now think of Howard the Duck as, of course, the movie character voiced by Seth Green. And no offense to him, that's a valid take, but it's just not the Howard I grew up reading. Boy, I'm probably, if I keep doing these videos, I'm going to say that a lot. It's not the one I grew up reading. But, a couple, let me go one or two other nerdy things. Notice I'm wearing a Devo B-52s shirt. I'd like to sum up my week. That was very fun. Last Saturday night, went to the Hollywood Bowl, saw 2 classic acts. Love Devo, and just realized their music is more relevant than ever. The message of de-evolution, if you think is funny, and it was done tongue in cheek, but And I get it now. And anyway, and I also mentioned that, of course, I was playing Worlds Collide, and uh, I do want to say, even a game as on the surface as simplistic as this seems to be, like all DC games, Marvel games too. I had the same problem with HeroClix when they assign power sets. I'm so busy trying to match up characters to their canonical abilities in the comics that I'm probably not playing nearly as well as I do now. I just noticed that I got close to unlocking a team up thing. So if anybody's playing uh, Worlds Collide and you unfortunately run across me and team up, I cannot be held responsible for being good at it because I'm probably not. My youngest child, the erstwhile kid Macaw, who's not a kid anymore, chides me all the time and tries to recommend games that I would like or would not like. So perhaps they're right. Anyway, so yeah, at some point, I'd like to consider this as maybe this is a live stream because it's an easier way to engage. Sit down and just talk and get through those books of the week. That does not mean that these are the only books of the week that were good. It's like when I do my 10 great books of the year. They're just 10 great books I read. I haven't read everything. I can't. Thank you for watching this far if you did. And I will do my best to get back on next week with a stack of books that I bought. And remember to use your powers for good because, my gosh, we need all the good we can get.